What's going on,
Uh,
guys?
Pass me the rock, Gerry and Coop. Ready to talk a little NBA Atlantic Division. So we're just gonna, next few weeks, NBA season's coming up. We're both
I'm excited, man.
NBA guys,
I'm
so
excited.
we're just gonna preview, a division or two every show leading up to it. So today we're gonna start off out east, the Atlantic Division, which features the defending champion Toronto Raptors. New look Raptors, though.
New
Coop,
look.
what are your thoughts on the upcoming season for the Toronto Raptors?
All right, so what I feel like a lot of people think when they see the Raptors is like, Kawhi's gone, they're not going to be doing anything. At least that's from what people I've talked to. They're like, strength of the division. You got the Celtics in there, you got the 76ers in there, you got the Nets. Kyrie's coming back. They're not coming back, but he's going to be playing for them. I think the Raps still have a bid. All right, they got Spicy P. They got a reliable point guard in Lowry. They got Fred VanVleet. Will they do crazy things? No. They'll be maybe like an 8th seed. I'd say they could definitely make it into the playoffs. I feel like I don't see why they couldn't. I think Siakam could lead that offense. Yeah.
You're gonna hear me when we do this series. You're gonna hear me talk about last year, the power of the Eastern Conference, where there was the 4 big teams.
Yeah.
The Bucks, the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Celtics. The 4 clearly strongest teams in the conference.
Right.
When I look at the Raptors, I wonder, with the loss of Kawhi and Danny Green, if they're going to fall out of that power 4 and be replaced by Brooklyn. I know Pascal Siakam really had that breakout year that you were talking about. Kyle Lowry is reliable. But when you look at the other 3 teams, Boston, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and now with Toronto, right? Philadelphia has that power starting 5, right? And the Bucks have Giannis and they have Chris Middleton and whatever. And now the Nets, they have Kyrie and they'll have
KD.
Kevin Durant, if not this season, next season. And the Celtics, they have that Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown. They're
pretty stacked.
They're a deep team. They have a lot of depth. When you look at the Raptors, it's like you have Siakam, but you don't have that complementary star. Right. I mean,
right.
Lowry,
you got a lot of B team stars. I feel like
right. A lot of guys that would be good role players on a championship team, which they were last year. Like Kyle Lowry is a very good 3rd or 4th best player on a championship team. Marcus Gasol, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think Pascal Siakam number 1. There's probably 5 or 6 guys in this league that could really lead a championship team. Otherwise, you're gonna have to have a team aspect of it. I don't know if Pascal Siakam is the type of guy that could take a roster like the Raptors have and make them a championship contender.
So who do you think leads it?
No, I mean, I think he's the leader of the team.
Right.
But when you look at the Raptors, I don't think that they have a player that's a player or a duo or a start. Or I don't that's what makes them a championship team.
Right.
They had Kawhi. I'm that's what makes them a championship team. When you look at the Sixers, it's they don't have that one player, but they got 4 All-Stars in that lineup. That's what makes them a championship team.
Right.
With the Raptors, it's I don't really see that. But
what about if Spicy P elevates his game? Excuse me.
Even still, I mean, do
they have Serge Ibaka?
But I don't see him being an impact player anymore. They just lack the amount of impact players that I want to see. So I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see. They're obviously a playoff team to me. I just think they're a 6 or 7 team.
No, definitely. No, I agree with you there. I think that they're low seed.
Speaking of the team that they beat in the second round of the playoffs last year, that power starting 5 that we were talking about, Coops, your thought on Philly, the 76ers?
The Empire. Talking about, you know what I'm saying? The dark star,
the dark side,
the Death Star,
the Death Star
of the NBA, Philly, right?
Everybody hates them.
Everybody hates them now. They got Horford. They got
Richardson.
That
was the new guys over the offseason.
Tobias Harris. They've got so many pieces, right? I think there's no reason why these guys shouldn't come out on the East on top. You know what I mean? Eastern Conference Finals, excuse me. Barring what happened with the Celtics last year, where they were dirty on paper. Everyone thought they were going to be crazy. And, they were a solid team. Definitely, like you said, one of the top 4 at the...
But people expect them to win the East with ease, 60 games and win the East.
That's what I'm saying. It's a similar situation with here.
Correct. I'm agreement. Yeah.
Yeah, the Philly could flop or... you know what I mean? I don't think there's a situation where they miss the playoffs. Well, I mean, unless they flop. You know what I'm saying? There's no middle.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Well, with Philly for me too is that I can't take Philly seriously until they learn how to beat the Celtics. Because last year I know they came in within one game of the NBA Finals, but even when the Celtics were at their worst last year, they still couldn't find a way to beat the Celtics. And then 2 years ago, when the Celtics had no Kyrie and were pretty weak, they took care of Philly. So for me, I can't take the Sixers seriously until I know that they can come out of that second round and that they can beat the Celtics. Because if the Celtics stand in their way, like the Celtics, I think, including playoffs, have lost 3 games to Philly over the last 2 years, and they've played them double-digit times. So to me, it's like I can't take you seriously if there's another team in the conference that owns you as much as the Celtics do.
Right. I also want to take into account, though, I know for a fact they're putting Embiid on load management for the regular season this year. I know Embiid wasn't at full capacity during the playoffs last year. And Embiid, I mean, he's just like a versatile big. He, I'm sure, changes the game in ways.
A better 3 than their point guard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think if they really do put him on a load management plan for the season and he comes into that playoffs fully healthy, I don't see why there's. I mean, obviously you have to take into. We'll talk about them soon. Your Celtics. I mean, they have another crazy squad.
Yeah,
but I'm interested to see whether or not this whole tradition, stays the way it is, or they kind of, the Philly shakes up the boat a little bit.
One thing too with Philly is that concerns me when I look at their roster is the depth. You have that top 4 with Harris, Simmons, Embiid, and now Horford. But after that, what? So if that top 4 has to carry you throughout the season, Embiid is injury prone. So if he goes down with injury, plus Horford's getting up there in age, Simmons has shown injury in the past. So to me is if one of those guys goes down with injury, who's going to step up and take their place? Because they don't have depth. And don't underestimate the fact that they lost JJ Redick this offseason.
That's true.
JJ Redick has started for them the last few years. He's been a major piece. He's been a great shooter for them. I think they hope Josh Richardson takes that slot, but JJ Redick, I know he's not like the top 50 player in the NBA, but it's a tough role, and it's a role that can't go unnoticed. So that's one too that I look at. And we talked about him already. Preview on the Celtics. Boston.
Celtics. Okay. So you got Kemba in place of Kyrie, right? The team with Kyrie in the locker room causing problems. I know you're not the biggest fan of Kyrie.
I hate Kyrie.
He hates Kyrie. I think, I mean, I don't see anything but good things for this team. Obviously, they got Romeo Langford, the rookie. I know he's coming off the bench. They've got a little bit of depth, I believe.
My thing with the Celtics, my favorite part about the Celtics this year is that they're not going in with expectations. Nobody is expecting them to do
They're
anything.
In a better position than they were last year. And last year they made the second
round. They had a better year. They had most teams would consider that a good year. The Celtics consider that a bad year. My favorite part about the Celtics is that they have no expectations going into this year. So they have nothing to lose.
Right.
So they will be playing a lot looser. But my key to the Celtics season is and a lot of people think he's overrated. I don't think he is. My key to the Celtics season is Jason Tatum, right? You saw Jason Tatum 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, go into the playoffs and stand toe-to-toe with some of the best in the league, including LeBron, and led the Celtics to within a win of the NBA Finals. That can't go underrated. Last year, his play style was messed up a bit. He took too many long twos. He said this season that last year was an experience. He's got to cut out the long twos, strictly threes and layups. I think this year is a breakout year for Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum is an all-star this year. And I think him and Kemba Walker are a dynamic duo. And I think this is a hot take. Maybe my Boston bias is showing here, but I think they rival Philly in the conference. I do.
Oh, no, I definitely think it's going to be a toss-up because both teams have kind of elevated. Obviously, Philly has that bench problem, but I mean, I think both teams are coming in, and I'm really going to be excited. My one
concern with the Celtics is big man depth. Enes Kanter is great offensively, but defensively he doesn't play defense. He takes it off. Taco Fall is the sexy ad for the Celtics, but I don't know how big of a role he actually plays this season.
Probably not.
My key player to watch for the Celtics, along with Jason Tatum, he's not the most well-known player around the league, and he's not really the best, but the development of Robert Williams, if he develops in a somewhat, I guess an average big man this year, the Celtics are dangerous because it gives them a defensive presence at the big man position to come in off the bench. And, offensively too. With Williams, it's about adding his IQ and skill set because his raw athleticism is through the roof. But if he can develop into an average big man, and and on nights where they need his presence, his defense more than Cantor's offense, when they go up against big men like Embiid in the Eastern Conference,
you're gonna need defense.
You're gonna need defense, and Enes Kanter can't be playing 30 minutes that night. It's just not gonna happen. If Robert Williams is able to emerge this year, the Celtics are extremely dangerous and an extremely underrated team in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
So,
we got
about 5 minutes left here. So
we want to talk about one team, or we want to talk about both New York?
Well, there's
teams?
Really no need to talk about the Knicks. So let's talk about Kyrie's new spot, the Nets.
Yikes. Okay. Brooklyn. They got Kyrie, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yep.
I believe he's gonna be also running with him. The Fro is playing at center.
Jared Allen,
yeah, Jared Allen, and then
Joe Harris, Karis LeVert.
Yeah,
a lot of guys you haven't heard of, but a lot of guys that make sure you remember that name because they'll be pretty solid players.
Yeah, no, it's all solid. They have good depth, which I find hilarious because they haven't had a first round pick in God knows how long. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they've actually made a better team than the Knicks without a first round. So do I think the team makes the playoffs? Sure. They made the playoffs last year. They had virtually the same squad. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell in there. You got to match up D'Angelo Russell versus Kyrie. You got to make that kind of comparison to see if they may be elevated or downgraded. So,
and
yeah, go ahead.
You can't underrate the fact that I know they said the other day that they're not expecting it, but you can't underrate the fact that they're gonna make the playoffs this year, and KD might be back for it. He might be back. The timeline, I know it would be best case scenario that he comes back, but there is a possibility. And given that he's now 31, 32 years old, they might even give him a little more time to recover from that Achilles injury. Given the fact that when he comes back, he's naturally not going to be just as he was before, just because of the age aspect of it. But you can't underrate the fact that Kevin Durant might be like slim chance, but he might be on that team come playoff time. And when you add Kevin Durant, you're adding arguably the best player in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. No, I also, the fact we should not ignore the fact that the injury happened on his non-dominant leg. And if you look back in history, guys that have gone down with Achilles tear on their non-dominant leg have come back at around, I was listening to First Take, like 75% of what they were.
Yeah.
KD at like 75% of what he was is like pretty damn good. So, I mean, if he comes back, great. I don't expect him to. I read something that said that, I saw the press day for the Nets, and, Kyrie kind of said that, hey, look, we don't want to do the same thing that Golden State Warriors did, where he feels pressure to come back come playoff time. If he's, healthy, he'll play. If he wants to, he'll play. But, nobody's forcing him to do anything.
This is also, I saw some comments on that media day too, and it's until KD comes back. This is Kyrie's team. Here's Celtics fan Gerry checking in here. That's
not a good thing.
I hope that Kyrie tears that team apart, because I hope that is a disaster. And because Kyrie's apologies, like his apology to Boston was better than his apology to Cleveland. So I'm excited to see what his next apology is when he completely dismantles another franchise, because he dismantled a potential dynasty in Cleveland with Kevin Love and LeBron,
and then
dismantled a potential dynasty in Boston with young guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and all that. I can't wait to see the next future plan that he dismantles before Kevin Durant even comes back.
You think he's going to dismantle?
If I'm going to be honest, if Celtics fan Gerry is checked out of the building here, I don't think there's any issues.
Yeah,
it's not.
He seems. I don't know. For whatever reason, I saw him at the media day. He didn't seem like.
But also too, he forced himself into that leadership role in Boston like that. He wanted his own team, and that failed. Brooklyn, I think Kyrie knows. I mean, until Kevin Durant comes back, then yes, I guess technically it is Kyrie's team. Yeah. But Kevin Durant, it's Kevin Durant's team when Kevin Durant comes back. So I think that does take a lot of the load off Kyrie. So I don't think he'll be getting his temper tantrums anymore and his tearing apart and going at young guys. But if I'm a Nets fan, I am concerned that his problem with the Celtics last year was that he kept going at young guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, more Jaylen Brown than Jason Tatum. And the Nets have a lot of young guys that they've built their team around. So I would be slightly concerned about his interaction with the young guys. And then, quick 15-second preview on the Knicks.
No
good.
Young core, promising. not going to do anything this year.
Not this year. RJ, Dennis Smith, just develop them. That's it.
Mitchell Robinson too.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson, key piece. Don't underrate that. All right. Well, we want to thank you guys for listening. Catch us next week. The videos are probably going up a little bit after 3 on Thursday again.
Yep.
Hockey season starts tonight. So for all the hockey people out there, go Bruins. And want to thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week at 3. Thank you.
Bye, guys.